All right. Well, I'm gonna go into just a quick tip, and then I'm gonna go to Greer for her next tip as well. So the next one that I have, and this is where we use Breezeway so heavily for, is that we actually have created a before section for the photos aspect. So we oftentimes found that obviously cleaners were taking photos in Breezeway of after the clean was completed, and that's certainly needed, and we have that as requirements, of course. But in having the requirement for a before photos, it's helped us in a lot of ways, primarily to show that work was actually done. There's some times where, there's questions of was this house used? And if all we have are perfectly clean photos, then it's difficult to kind of show that work. And so we go in and take pictures of the unmade bed, and we take pictures of things. And it also is a great way to have cleaners start to be on the lookout for damages and start to be immediately walking through that house before they begin with their eye on what is needed here. And so the before photos is an easy thing to add into Breezeway, and you can just add that in and then make that as a requirement to just snap a few photos before you begin the service as the cleaner. And it certainly has helped us in terms of getting some of that validation of the work that was completed, as well as looking for damages that are out there. So Greer, what else?
I'm piggybacking off you, Jonathan.
I love
The after pictures for us are huge.
it. Mhm.
Um, and it might seem obvious, but really we like to hone in on the details of what a guest is. There's 5 things that they see and now they're upset, right when they come in. So we try to hone in on those things, picture wise. If you have a trash can inside the kitchen, a pull out, sometimes they miss that. So when, the bag is new and, it's clean, it's a fresh trash bag, but there's like food and things that they miss, we ask for a picture of that. Again, that's kind of checks and balances with the cleaner. We know they're doing a good job. It's just those few things, if they can make sure is completed, the guest is like, wow, this place is perfect. So yeah, inside oven, trash can, that trash can like cabinet area, if I'm explaining that
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And around the doorknob, and right when you come in the front door, like the doorknob and right around it, usually we try to paint it, but if you just get a magic eraser, it's clean. So
And
some
do
of those initial things. Go ahead.
you require those photos? Is there like an actual physical
Yeah.
requirement section for each one of those?
Yeah. So it's awesome with Breezeway. You have to take those to complete the clean.
Mhm.
And we don't ask for a lot. I understand the cleaners, they have a million things to do in a very short amount of time. So it's really just 4 quick pictures of those items that, again, we've found that guests complain about. So we
Hmm.
just try to put that in the exit clean to
Yeah.
knock it
Yeah.
out. That makes sense.
While we have you, before we pop popcorn over to Brad, I know there was a bit on the mid-stay cleans that you all are doing now, and the difference there. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so if we have a guest 2 weeks, staying 2 weeks or longer, we're actually kind of working it out right now, but we do it if they have a pet, we do a mandatory cleaning with the guests, and there's some kinks that we're working out, but
Mhm.
the guest essentially pays that beforehand. Like when you're booking, they're paying for that interim cleaning. Hey, once you guys are close to your stay, we'll reach out and get that scheduled, the time that works for you. Maybe you're at the beach, whatever. But that one helps us get an idea of how good or bad the house is being cared for with this long-term stay. Is the dog sleeping in the bed? I know we brought that up earlier. So just kind of helpful tips, and again, for the cleaner to get an idea of what to expect on the turnover day. So again, checks and balances on that kind of thing.
And I love, if you notice, the theme that we've all kind of said is, we're working through this, right? Which is that it's not a perfect science. There's no way when you
Yeah.
say, oh, we require mid-state cleans, we all know, man, there's conversations that need to happen there. There's variances. And so, yeah, if you're looking to get more information on how that's working through, you can contact Greer at some point in the next couple months, say, hey, how's that going? Because I
Yeah.
know this is stuff that we learn on the fly. We are all paving that way.
I have 2 quick tips. So the number one tip, which I'm sure everybody already does this, but I think when you're doing inspections, use a flashlight to go around the base of the toilet and to look at the toilet. I think when you use a flashlight, I don't know, maybe in the chat, does anybody use a flashlight when they're doing inspections? Um, Using a flashlight will show every hair that has ever been there. And so anyway, flashlights for the win on your inspections are super helpful. But the second tip that I'll say is ask your cleaners and really make sure your cleaners are reading every single item on the checklist. It's so easy for cleaners to get in there and they've been to that house, 50 times and they're just going to breeze through it. But those checklist items are super, super important. One thing that Jonathan shared a while back is you can have fun with those checklists, right? Add a little Easter egg, right? Like, hey, if you're reading this, text me and I'll give you a $5 gift card, right? Like really incentivize them to read everything on that checklist. It's super important. And then the last thing is, if Jonathan's is also a tip from you too, but have the cleaner sign their name at the end, right? And that way that kind of adds accountability, right? If they know that they have to sign their name saying the property is complete and ready for a guest, they might think twice about that and do another walkthrough because they're signing their name. There's something special about putting your own name to something, right? And so a couple tips there for the checklists.
I love that. I love that. And thanks for getting into that, because we are going to try to answer some of these questions. There's so many good questions. So I'm going to try to rapid fire. We've got 3 minutes and we're going to try to hit. But yes, that guest readiness signature is a game changer. And what we do there is have a blank area where it says, if the home is guest ready, type in your full name. If not, type in the reason why it's not guest ready. And this also helps cleaners, men, if there's a broken bed, right? And that broken bed is, they know it's going to cause an issue for the guest. They then type in broken bed as opposed to their name. And that releases them from the liability of, if there's an issue with the guest, they're saying, I did my part, but there's something left to be done for guest readiness. So yes, I think that's super helpful.